Chosen ones, you all feel the power behind this silence, don't you? They used to think it was just tension, but now they're beginning to understand. When you remain silent, you cast a shadow over them. Your silence was never weakness. It was like the restless calm of a destructive storm. They now know very well that the judgment is expected, cruel and inevitable. Remember when they didn't take you seriously, when they disregarded your words. Do you remember those people who looked at you with blank eyes when you spoke the truth, who interrupted you, belittled you, and forgot you? Those who saw you as a disposable object, who thought your voice was just background noise that could be silenced at will? Now you are striking a deadly fear into those very people, because you have decided that they no longer deserve your breath, and they are waiting in the silence, trembling. If you are ready to rise from the ashes, claim your God-approved love and take the next step. Press the like and subscribe buttons below and leave a 77 in the comments. Now, Chosen One, let's move on. Chosen Ones, remember, this silence is the source of the fear that holds their minds captive. The old days are now being settled, and they know that if you are silent, the judgment that will come next will be so sharp and severe that there will be no escape. Your silence is not just the absence of words. It is a force of nature that is beginning to tear at their reality. They can feel it. Something has changed. The shadows are lengthening, and somewhere deep in their souls they know that it started the moment you fell silent. Fear spreads through their consciousness like wildfire. At first, just a vibration of unease, a slight discomfort they cannot name. But now it consumes them. Their nights grow restless. Their thoughts scatter like ashes in the wind. Their certainties crumble under the weight of your absence. What power they gave you by underestimating your silence. What authority they handed over, assuming that your voice was your only weapon. Irony scorches their reality. By deposing you, they have elevated you to the position of their judge, the cosmic joke that makes the universe tremble with black laughter. Remember this: they did not value your voice until it was gone. They did not appreciate its warmth until they felt the cold. They did not realize your power until you no longer served them. If divine love abounds in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can contribute to the spread of God's blessing by clicking on the Super Thank button on YouTube and making a donation of $100 or more. Through this platform, this wonderful gift will not only impact your life, but the souls of countless others. Your donations will be the result of our prayers, and each of you has a special place in God's greater plan. You were created to do so much more under God's tender care, so act today and spread your benefits to glorify His kingdom. May God bless you. The shock paralyzes them, immobilized by your absence. They look at the spaces you once occupied, as if your shadow could still linger there, as if it could give them a clue to the mystery of your departure. But you have left no breadcrumbs, no trail to follow, no map to lead them back to your energy. Their shock turns to despair. They reach for mutual connections. They invent reasons to contact you. They create emergencies that require your response. Each attempt is more transparent than the last. Each failure drives the knife deeper into their swollen egos. Write the number 99 in the comments to let the cosmos know you are ready. They create elaborate stories to explain your silence, convincing themselves that you are just busy, telling themselves you will get back to them, assuring each other that no one can stay silent forever. These lies provide temporary comfort, but the truth beneath them festers like an infected wound. You have spoken your last words to them, and this revelation has shattered their sense of their own importance. This pattern cannot be denied, cannot be explained, cannot be rationalized. Experience what it is really like to be chosen. You are not alone on this journey. If you believe in your heart that you have been chosen, you are at the perfect point. By choosing to join, you can further your relationship with us, access exclusive information, and get the help you need on your spiritual journey. It's not just about joining a group. It's about gaining access to special insights that can change your life and help you get closer to your divine purpose. Make your decision now and join us on this journey. Claim your right to be one of the chosen ones. Sign up today. It is impossible to ignore the power you have. When you walk away, the consequences follow. When you withdraw your energy, chaos erupts. When you withdraw your light, darkness rushes in to claim what you have abandoned. This is no coincidence. It is cosmic law. They never believed in karma until they saw it firsthand. They laughed at the spiritual implications until it became a cautionary tale. They rejected universal justice until they found themselves on the receiving end of its cruel balance. Your silence is not mere absence. It is a judgment. A judgment, not by your words, but by the universe itself. You did not need to curse them. You did not need to threaten them. You did not need to prophesy their downfall. You simply stepped aside and let natural law take its course. And so it did. Watch as their carefully constructed facade begins to crack. Watch their hollow successes begin to crumble. Watch their fragile alliances unravel in betrayal. Because you have chosen to remove yourself from the equation, the very foundation they never accepted. Observe how quickly the judiciary follows the silence, how perfectly the results coincide with the violations. The backstabber now finds himself isolated. The liar is now drowning in deception. The energy thief is now exhausted. The cosmic scales balance with a delicate and terrible symmetry. They look for external causes, blame circumstances, other people, bad luck, Mercury retrograde, everything except the truth staring them in the face. The catalyst for their downfall is your withdrawal. The universe works in patterns too perfect to be coincidence, and the patterns surrounding your silence make sounds that even the willfully deaf must eventually hear. Attempts to escape judgment only draw them further into the net. Every denial strengthens the judgment. Every excuse increases the punishment. Every refusal to accept your absence as a turning point further deafens the power of your silence. Make no mistake, the universe is keeping tally, recording with meticulous precision every insult against you, counting every rejection of your truth, calculating the full weight of the disrespect they have heaped upon your shoulders. And now, the cosmic accountant has calculated their debt. The math of spiritual justice cannot be disputed. Energy must be balanced. Power must be equalized. What has been taken must be given back. These are not human laws that can be circumvented or negotiated. These are the fundamental equations that govern existence itself. Your silence has set the collection process in motion, initiating a universal audit of everything they owe, reclaiming the energy they stole through 1,000 petty thefts they thought would go unnoticed. Watch how perfectly their current pain mirrors their previous pain, how exactly their current isolation matches the loneliness they caused you, how exactly their current confusion equals the gaslighting they subjected you to. The universe prepares its punishments with an artist's attention to detail, and symmetry would be beautiful if it were not so destructive. The celestial scoreboard shows their deficit in neon lights across the universe. There is no hiding from this debt. No bankruptcy protection from karmic creditors. No running away from the spiritual reckoning triggered by your silence. And you stand apart from this process. You are neither the executioner nor the judge. You are only the one who ceases to bear the cost of their actions. You don't need to calculate their punishment. The universe takes care of the math of justice with perfect accuracy. No more reacting. No more explaining. No more giving your precious energy to those who are wasting it. You have mastered the art of detachment, a practice that terrifies those who rely on your emotional labor. They were used to your fire, your passion, your willingness to fight for the truth. They expected outbursts they could use against you, arguments they could twist, reactions they could manipulate. Instead, they encountered something much more powerful: nothing. Nothing unsettles manipulators more than the realization that they no longer have access to your emotions. Nothing frightens energy vampires as much as realizing that their hosts have cut ties with them. Nothing disturbs narcissists more than confronting someone who refuses to be their mirror. Your self-isolation is masterful. You have learned to observe without absorbing, to witness without engaging, to know without needing to prove. This is not the insignificant silence of someone who has been wounded. It is the profound silence of someone who has transcended the need for worldly validation. Power now moves in stillness, in the space between words, in the breath you choose not to waste. They mistake your peace for weakness because they have never known true strength. This detachment was not easy. It required a deep spiritual commitment to your own worth. It required you to ruthlessly prioritize your spiritual sovereignty. It cost you sleepless nights and tearful battles with your own conditioning. But now, the hard-won mastery of energetic boundaries flows through you like second nature. They expected your separation to be a temporary, transient phase, a momentary pause before you return to your role as their emotional caretaker. The realization that this is permanent must have shaken them deeply. It is not a negotiation tactic or a punishment with an expiration date. It is you evolving beyond their limited understanding of who you are. Your rupture exposes the asymmetry that has always existed in your relationships, shows the one-way streets they have tried to convince you are equal paths of exchange, reveals the parasitic nature of the connections they have framed as symbiotic. The truth is naked in your silence, and they cannot bear to look at it directly. Your silence has made you unreadable, and nothing scares them more than what they cannot understand. Where do they stand with you now? What are you thinking behind those calm eyes? What moves are you planning in that quiet mind? These questions torment them day and night because people are afraid of what they cannot predict. They underestimated the power of someone who doesn't reveal his next move. They never understood that real authority doesn't need shouting, that real power doesn't require constant demonstration, that real power works in silence, like gravity. Invisible, but undeniable in its effect. Your silence forces them to confront their own thoughts, their own fears, their own insecurities. Without your voice to distract them, they are finally forced to listen to their own inner voices, the voices they have drowned out with noise and chaos, and they are horrified by what they hear. Their intuition now speaks unfiltered by your reassurance. Their conscience judges them, unsoftened by your forgiveness. Their future looms before them, unchanged by your guidance. For the first time, they are faced with the truth of who they are, and they cannot stand the sight. You have become a quantum force in their lives, present and absent at the same time, affecting everything while touching nothing. They cannot calculate your trajectory or measure your intentions. This uncertainty consumes them, gnaws at their sense of control, erodes their illusions of dominance. The unreadable becomes unconquerable. They cannot defeat what they cannot understand. They cannot manipulate what they cannot predict. They cannot disrupt what they cannot reach. Your silence has turned you into a fortress without gates, an impenetrable mystery. They turn and turn endlessly, looking for entry points that no longer exist. In the vacuum of knowledge, their minds create illusions. They project their fears onto the blank canvas of your silence, creating elaborate scenarios based on fragments and assumptions. The monsters they imagine lurking behind your silence are reflections of their own darkness, parts of themselves they refuse to acknowledge until your mirror forces them to face it. Look at them now. Look at them. Those who laugh behind your back, those who ignore your warnings, those who in their arrogance think they are untouchable, are sitting amidst the rubble of their own destruction. Their plans, their games, their manipulations, none of them could withstand the storm that followed your departure. The tower they built on shifting sands now lies in ruins around them, and they know very well why it fell. Did you cause this collapse? No. You simply stopped being the force that held their unstable structure together. You have ceased to be the foundation that supports their fragile egos. You withdrew the energy they were siphoning off to feed their delusions. They built the tower. They ignored the warning signs. They laughed at the approaching storm. You simply stepped aside and let nature take its course. The laws of the universe cannot be broken without consequences. They are learning this truth too late. Now they are drowning in the consequences of their own choices, the same choices you warned against, the same patterns you set, the same behaviors you refused to allow any longer. Back then they called you dramatic, hypersensitive, exaggerated. Now they are trying to get to higher ground, wondering why nobody warned them when the waters were rising. But you warned them. Every limit they crossed, every truth they denied, every value they compromised. Your words fell on deaf ears. Now they have to hear the deafening silence of your absence. As they crumble, you accelerate. As they drown, you rise. While they cling to the wreckage of the old, you embrace the promise of what is to come. Your life moves forward with unstoppable momentum, leaving them behind in the dust of their own making. The distance between you grows with each passing day, each choice, each breath. You are no longer in their grasp, no longer subject to their limitations, no longer bound by their expectations. They watch you from afar as you transform, expand, step into the power they never believed you had. Every success you achieve without them is another reminder of how they miscalculated. Every goal you achieve without their help is proof that they are never the philanthropists they appear to be. Understand this truth. It was never, ever you who needed them. It was they who needed you, your energy, your light, your perspective. They perceived your including them as an addiction. They never realized that you were extending an invitation they did not deserve. Now that invitation has been withdrawn. The door is closed. The bridge has been burned. And on the other side, you are growing in a way that challenges their understanding. Your growth without them is the most devastating silence, proof that their presence in your life is not the blessing they believe it to be. They are still watching. Make no mistake. Behind their ostensible indifference lies an obsessive interest. Through social media, through reciprocal connections, through the energetic network that connects all beings, they consume news about your journey with a hunger that belies their claims of objectivity. I don't even think about them anymore, they say, even as your name burns on their tongues. I've moved on completely, they insist, all the while pacing your life with trembling fingers. As their jealousy deepens, their objections grow louder, a transparent attempt to convince themselves of a lie that the universe refuses to verify. What are they most jealous of? Not your external successes, although these provoke their pain. Nor is it your apparent happiness, although that also fuels their resentment. No, what really consumes them is your freedom. The way you let them go without a thought. Your refusal to be bound by attachment. That you walk away while they are chained to the memory of what they have lost. Even in their silence, they realize that they are not needed at all. That the world continues to spin without their contribution. That your story continues to unfold without them as characters. Their worst fears were confirmed. They were always replaceable, while you were always indispensable. This knowledge gnaws them from the inside, erodes their certainty, weakens their arrogance. This question haunts their quiet moments. If they are wrong about their importance to you, what else could they be wrong about? They assume that silence means surrender, weakness, defeat. They expected you to fight, argue, plead, justify, explain. Your refusal to engage first confused them, then worried them, then terrified them. Because silence was not your white flag. It was your declaration of war. You did not fight on their terms. You did not enter their battlefield. You did not play by their rules. You simply stepped out of their equation, and the universe did the rest. No drama, no announcements, no grand finale. Just the silent closing of a door they didn't realize could be locked behind them. This is power in its purest form. Not power that announces itself with trumpets and titles. Not power that needs constant validation, but power that moves silently through the world, changing everything it touches without needing to be seen. Now they sit in pain, and you stand in power, not because you seek revenge. Revenge would still require you to care. Not because you plotted their downfall. Their downfall was written in their choice. But because you finally realized that your worth never depended on their recognition of it. Remember this moment, the moment when you realized that walking away would say so much more than staying to shout. The moment you realized that your absence would teach lessons that your presence could never teach. The moment you discovered that silence is not the absence of power, but the concentration of power. Your silence spoke louder than words ever could, went deeper than any insult, lasted longer than any argument. The message rang clear throughout the cosmos. You no longer have access to my energy. Those who once tested your limits now fear your silence. Not because you seek revenge, you have moved beyond such earthly concerns, but because they see the judgment unfolding before their eyes. Not your judgment, the universal judgment, the natural consequences of imbalance, the inevitable correction that follows disrespect. While they sit in remorse, you continue to move forward, stronger, untouchable, unstoppable. Your path illuminated not by their approval, but by your own inner light. The light they tried to darken, but only managed to teach you to protect. In your silence, you have found your voice. In your absence, you have revealed your presence. In your retreat, you have shown your strength, and it is glorious. The sentence has been passed. The sentence is passed. The judgment has begun, without you uttering a word, because silence, your silence is deadly, and they never saw it coming. Long after the dust has settled, long after the lessons have been learned, long after the results have come out, your silence will continue to echo in the universe. The echo of your unspoken words will remain a permanent change in the universal frequency, a wave that continues to shape realities long after its source has been forgotten. Your silence transcends time, existing simultaneously in the past, present, and future. They will carry the memory of your silence into every new relationship, unconsciously testing new connections against the standards you set, forever measuring the power of others by the power of your absence. You have become their reference point for spiritual domination, the yardstick by which all energetic boundaries will be judged. The echo extends beyond those who directly experience your silence, rippling outward to touch lives connected to theirs, creating patterns that repeat across generations. Your single act of energetic reclamation sends shockwaves through the collective consciousness and inspires others to reclaim their own power through the sacred art of silence. This is your legacy, not put into words or preserved in monuments, but embedded in the fabric of existence. The eternal echo of a moment when you chose yourself, when you honored your worth, when you realized that some connections had to be severed for the soul to reach its highest expression. And so, your silence continues its work, healing what is broken, balancing what is out of balance, revealing what is hidden, teaching what has been forgotten. The cosmic lesson continues to unfold, written in the language of absence, spoken in the dialect of silence, understood by those wise enough to listen to what remains unsaid. The end is only the beginning. If this message speaks to you, don't keep it to yourself. Let's share it. Please like this video to show you are with us. Share your views with us by leaving a comment below. Have you ever seen karma in action? Tell someone you think needs to hear this. Most importantly, if you want to make sure you don't miss anything that conveys wisdom, power, or truth, subscribe to the channel and enable alerts. This movement continues to expand thanks to your support, and I assure you, there is much more to come. May you be blessed.